Thank you very much. Without preempting Gagarin, Madakia, and Chimerojon, I just wanted to repeat or emphasize one of or two of the things that Titi said. By the way, Titi, I join the Kemi and the team in appreciating you for this wonderful presentation. I've also seen the same remarks coming in our chat box. I appreciate that and the time that you put into it. I know how much that time it costs you to create that time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Now we are talking about, I read the language, specifically I read French, but I also did all the compulsory courses in English. So I can tell you that I'm a graduate of French and English. So I want to see talking to, talking with, and talking down on. It's the same thing. The business is the same, talking. I think that if one agency is talking down on, and another agency is actually believing that there is need to talk with, and the whole world is going public-private partnership, I would believe that it is time, and maybe this is one of the, ways to achieve one of your recommendations, synergy. I think that it is time that the agency that has jurisprudential, forget me, I'm not a lawyer, where that has the supervisory oversight on non-oil export, should then be actually talking to your, okay, I'm a member of the trustee, so our network of practicing non-oil exporters, it is time with the two recent news extracts that you brought up, the customs, protesting the introduction of policies without consulting them, the World Bank, IMF saying that we are actually paying lip service to diversification. I think as quickly as possible, if possible yesterday, NEPC and MPNEN should be calling all exporters or representatives of all exporters together, perhaps under the existing platform, the Non-Oil Export Conference Exhibition and Awards, to actually draw up all these things and bring out a conclusion that can be jointly presented to the central government. I was going to suggest a cabinet committee, as Obama did. But if you brought in a cabinet committee, you probably also be subjecting the NEPC to further reporting channels. They already have the legal backing. What Obama did simply was to say, it is now created an export committee that is chaired by myself, the president, and everybody who has anything to do. I think there are 32 members. The Secretary of State for Commerce, the Secretary of State for Finance, the Secretary of State for Agriculture, and all of those, anyone that has anything related, he brought them into that cabinet committee on export, and they met with him every month. So it was impossible for the central bank governor to be issuing out policies without hearing what the implications of those policies were likely to be on the other sectors. That's what it should be. And that's what I think, and I'll personally be recommending that to the ED of the NEPC. At the earliest, we have a think tank, a body that can work with the NEPC, probably coming from MPNEN or whatever other initiatives, work with them to actually produce a memorandum to the federal government, the topmost listing, to give them, I don't know, is it extra powers or whatever? But in any case, I think that it is all about consultation. That's the point I wanted to make. I know, and I'm appealing to everybody, we may not end today's own at our normal 90 minutes. Titi has thrown up so much, and I think that we need to do justice to it, because somehow, well, you guys, you don't want to know how Titi and Mr. Boyede met and how they have engaged, but I can assure you that 110% we share this passion for change in Nigeria's non-oil export industry. And believe me, with what you have brought up to steer our discussions today, and I can dare to tell you that I know the other two guys coming, they have fire in their, is it fire in their salvo or salvo in their fires? Okay. By the time we get from them, I think that we have more than enough to actually pursue an advocacy that will get somewhere. Your effort will not be in vain. Ours will not be in vain. This discussion will not be in vain. Lady K, please. Take over.
Thank you so much, Saboyede. Okay, so we go into the Q&A session. If you have a question, please, as usual, use the emoji to signify by raising up your hand. You can do it physically or use the emoji. Meanwhile, or you can type in the chat forum. If you have a comment, you may have a comment, you are free to comment, or you have questions. This session will be like 10 minutes. Thank you. Okay, do I see any hand up? Anyone wants to make a comment? Or we are all satisfied because they really did a good job. Okay. Mr. Chairman, Ibrahim Aruna, please, you have the floor. Unmute yourself. I can see your hand up. Ibrahim Aruna, you are the first to go.
Sorry about that. So I wanted to, I don't know, it's very overwhelming. I wanted to thank all the speakers and listening to all of you, keep reiterating the experiences we all have been going through for so many years. And I want to ask all of us on this forum, I know some of us have the power to influence policies. I know some of us are also part of the people that can also help us to change things. But what are we waiting for? Because as a businessman, we want to do business. We want to create opportunity for people. So it's a win-win. It's not just because I want to sell something to make money. The person that needed those services also need those stuff. So why are we making life difficult for ourselves? I mean, to be able to, whenever we're going to Nigeria, every border we get to, things go so easy. But once we get home to Nigeria, then you get to our international airport, you are sweating. Wi-Fi is not working. Washroom is stinking. If it rains, the roof is leaking. So who are those people that are leading those? The manager of that airport himself, and he's there seeing it. So all of us have a role to play. So we keep talking about the president or the governors and everything. So all of us, right? And I know, and I'm sorry to say, sometimes people will say, "Oh, we ran away." We didn't run away. I mean, look at this forum right now. We're all doing this, right? I know it's tough to stay in Nigeria, but we came here for opportunity. I can give two examples. I'm not going to stay too long. The first one was myself and my alumni at University of Ilorin. We worked to broker a collaboration between University of Alabama and University of Ilorin. It took us 2 years to get that done. Eventually, when we got it done, for the STEM, science, engineering, mathematics, what it means is that there can be exchange between the student between Canada, US, or the university that are involved in that program. And also lecturer can exchange. So we brought all the leadership on University of Ilorin in 2015 to do a handshake, sign and everything. But do you know that they could not run with it? They couldn't even implement it, right? And I can keep going on different examples like that.
One more minute.
Okay, so I think with this one, what can we do? What can we do to change things? Because it just keep going.
Yeah.
Right, we have optimized all the problems, right? And this is keep going every day. The same thing we keep talking about every day. So I think as a group, we need to all come out together and do something drastic that we need to do. If we need to start pushing out press releases, engaging the government, different government agencies, I think we need to do that. And it's going to take all of us to be able to chip in to make that work. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Yeah, you're right. Those of us that are here, we didn't run away. Otherwise, we won't be looking back at what we can do and how to effect changes. The next person is Bukola Lawa. Please unmute yourself, sir. You have 1 minute. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I've listened to all the speakers with keen interest. Right from the first presenter and then the last person as well as the moderator. Unfortunately, we find ourselves where we are today. Most of the whole team more than to ease of doing business in this country. At the time, I happened to be privileged to know a little about what the government has put together to ensure that business are done in a seamless manner and for all the practitioners to achieve within the time frame. But unfortunately, most of those things are not working. I could remember a time when Nigerian Shippers Council, there was an office domiciled in the vice president office, especially on the ease of doing business in Nigeria.
About 20 more seconds, sir.
Okay, but having said that, all this has not worked. Also, regarding the high freight of things, honestly, it is an international thing of which, before we can get it right, most of the factors attached and associated with shipping line and logistics has to be looked into with critical and holistic approach. Otherwise, I say it again, because I happen to be within the system and I understand most of the things that are here. Those factors, lot of factors has to be looked into and try as much as possible to overhaul the system. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much for trying to keep the time. We understand what you have said. Omolara Akonji, yeah, the
Okay.
next man.
Thank you, Lady K.
Thank you.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, clearly.
Okay. My situation is just to bring out two issues. I want to find out how we can help the policymakers who, without contextual experience, make decisions and they spread those decisions to unsuspecting others, unsuspecting exporters. I think, in this kind of situation, which we are doing now, we should be inviting the policymakers themselves to come and listen in and hear, because that is when they will know where shoes are pinching. But then none of them is here. The second one is that most of the issues that are dragging the country back have been, enunciated, but having said that, there are no consequences for those who have, disculpate, no consequences. And even with the ease of doing business, those who miss the steps, no consequences. In Nigeria, when you do anything bad, there's no consequence. Everybody just go on and be doing whatever they like to do. I think we need the policymakers to be part of this discussion so that they can hear from those who do the business.
Time up,
Thank you. Thank you
very much. Thank you so very much, ma'am. The next person, I see the hand up. After you finish speaking.
Do you mind if I just interject because Dr. Omolara Akonji has made also some very extremely cogent.
Do I ask
yes.
that the other speaker do now round everything up?
No, I don't want to round up. I want to respond to a question that Dr. Akonji has asked. How do we ensure that the people who are supposed to hear these things, how do we ensure that I think that's the point she was trying to make. And thank you, Dr. Akonjima. the best way, I think, would be for the NPLEN, just like, and thank you because you are a member of the Board of Trustees of NPLEN. Hey, I've been kicked out.
No, you're not kicked out. You're still in.
Yeah, because I can't see anything. Can you guys hear me?
Clearly.
Yes, please go on.
Okay. So for NPLEN and NEPC to cause a national conference to hold ASAP that will involve all the other agencies that have been talking about this thing. What did they do under the Obasanjo administration when late Chief Ufot Ekaite was SGF, and I was privileged to be the consultant that coordinated that? There was an interministerial, that was before the Presidential Review Committee on waivers, concessions, and incentives. And I think that was about the time that you were still active at the Central Bank of Nigeria. I think that interministerial committee, I remember very well that I was one of those who separated a fight from a serving minister then and the representative of the Nigeria Customs Service, who was at that time just an ACG. I remember the issue they were talking about was the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme. And when the Minister of Industries, at that time it wasn't combined, Ambassador, was it Magaji Mohammed? Yes, he was the Minister of Industries. When he explained what the ETLS was all about and what benefits it was to bring to Nigeria, the lady representing the Controller General of Customs stood up and said, I don't care what Minister of Finance or anybody says, I will not have, and I had to stand up and say, what is I? You are a subset of the whole. We are here to create, we as Nigeria, what will benefit Nigeria. So the only way we can get that done, ma, is to have them, like you said, in a hall and everybody represented. And the only way to get this done as quickly as possible is for NPLEN and its board of trustees probably to pay another visit or something, Zoom with NEPC, and let's see if we can bring everybody together. Because like Titi Ojo said in her presentation, it is a shame. It's an international shame when foreign international media can be reporting that there is no agreement between the central bank, the customs, and this agency and that agency. It's a shame. We need to quickly put our house in order. If not, we continue to remain a laughing stock in the face of the export and import world, which is international trade. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Boyede. 1 minute for Emo Olumide. Please, if your camera is working, you can switch on your camera and your audio as well, you're on mute.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Lady K. I think we've taken so much time to highlight a lot of problems, and I think that going forward, we should also dedicate pretty much as much energy to the solutions. And I think if I were to caption all of the solutions that have come to mind, some of the things that I've seen working in some other aspects of the Nigerian economy, I think I would caption everything under the word collaboration. And collaboration is also most effective when there is communication. And the goal is to achieve a sort of a level of consensus in order to be able to move the hand of government to work for the actors, especially private sector actors in the Nigerian economy space. I think also that bringing, of course, by all means, we should bring policymakers to the room. We should also attempt to take seats at the table in the existing rooms where these conversations are holding, because really, you bring a policymaker to your meeting, they tell you a lot of things. And I've seen these things play over and over and over again. I work as Deputy Director General of NASI, that's Nigerian Association of Small Scale Industrialists. I know that we have a seat at many of the tables that I'm still surprised many times when I go into some of those meetings to find out the things that have been done without private sector at the table. But notwithstanding, it's not magic. It requires a level of consistency and commitment. All of these conversations that we're having need to be collated. They need to be communicated. We need to collaborate ourselves, and then we need to present a strong voice, because the truth of the matter is a lot of people in government are clueless, but they also would move under a compelling hand of the private sector. I'll just wrap it up like that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so very much for keeping to the time. We have Femi Odere next. Femi Odere, the Special Assistant on Diaspora Affairs to Ekiti State Governor. You're welcome. Please put on your camera and you're unmute yourself. Thanks.
Okay, Lady K, thanks for taking me. Let me quickly apologize for joining the meeting relatively late, and I think it was your fault because I just saw the invite about maybe 30 minutes ago. I don't know when you sent it, but it must not have been more than 30 or 40 minutes ago now.
That was a reminder.
Okay, but anyway, it is this kind of meeting that at least one of them that I'm very much like to be involved in. That I'll just take a different take on what I have had so far in the last 15, 20 minutes that I've joined this meeting. And that take, I'm going to suggest that is going to be very radical. I'm in government, at least in a very small corner of Nigeria, in Ekiti. And I've seen, quite a lot, not from the state, but I've interacted at the federal level in terms of how government thinks and all of that. And unfortunately, I have come to that conclusion that, you see, at some point, you guys out there outside Nigeria, as much as government is important to get things done, and government can actually move a mountain if it decides to move a mountain. But I want to suggest a radical approach, and that is that forget about government. If you keep saying that you want the policymakers to come to this kind of engagement, yes, it's a good thing. But the fact of the matter is that we have a very weak economic structure, and we have very uneducated. We have a very. Hello? Can I go on?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. We have a very relatively undedicated, insincere, and careless and lackadaisical set of your so-called policymakers. So to me, it was just going to be a waste of time trying to get your policymakers to be a part of this meeting. Now, that to me can sound radical. But like I said, I've been in the Nigerian governmental system to know that if we really want to get things done, especially on this import-export kind of engagement, I've never met Mr. Boyede, but we've talked a few times, and I know that he knows his onion. I know Lady K, we have met a few times. She came to Nigeria and all of that. She knows her onion too. And quite a few people at this meeting that I believe knows their onion. I think what we need to start articulating and engaging is to begin to find like minds who can drive certain economic process, most especially from the private sector. If we can get a handful of the so-called policymakers in terms of what we really want to achieve, then it's all well and good. And that is not to say that we don't have some dedicated people out there who are in government, but it is going to be, in my own view, relatively dragging and counterproductive and time wasting if we try to apply a net to all the government, or at least most of the government policymakers, that it is only when they come that we can begin to get this done. They are never going to come.
No, that's not what we said.
Thank you so very much.
That's just my my contribution so far.
Thank you. We truly appreciate. The summary is ensure that you do your thing. Stop waiting for government. Thank you. Okay.
Can I quickly chip in something?
That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay. Yeah, before the other guy. Yeah. So yeah, I was listening to Mr. Femi, and sorry, the guy that just from Ekiti that just finished talking. I wanted to call it two things. Number one, those of you in abroad, we're all in Nigeria, okay? We're Nigerian first. And this forum comprises a lot of people, and we're focusing on the trade, the Nigerian, and how do we work together to get things in and out. Okay, and the second thing about private driven, we still need the government too. We still need the policy. If the policies are not there, I mean, we look at the bureaucracy people have been going through. A policeman stops you, delay your product for 32 days. Most of the product might have get spoiled or the money has been tied down. We still need the government. So we have to be able to create that enabling environment. Ease of doing business is that you go in to get a paper, you get it so quickly. Sometimes some people will sit on the paper, will not ever sign, will be there. How can you spend 3 months? Myself and Mr. Femi and all of us, a lot of time we want to register a company in Nigeria. It takes so long to get done. Here in Canada, in 2 hours, we will register a company in 2 hours. Under 2 hours, it's even too long. So the government, we need the government. We need everyone. Private driven cannot be successful if the government is not able to provide their own part too. It's a win-win. Go ahead, Mr. Femi.
Mr. Ibrahim, it's not just need. We don't have to plead to need. Yeah. I actually put the response to that already in the chat box, but for the benefit of Mr. Odere, who is still around, who I thank very much for attending at short notice, for international trade, there is no way, no matter how strong the private sector drive is, you cannot do international trade without government. Yeah. You cannot take anything out of Nigeria without Nigeria Customs Service, without a certificate of registration as an exporter from Nigeria Export Promotion Council, without opening a Form NXP at the Central Bank of Nigeria, without Cobalt or one of those other pre-shipment inspection agents. All these are government. So we appreciate your suggestion, but the only way to get it to work is to get them in the room so that they can listen to the practitioners and understand where these things are misfits or they are negative, achieving negative results opposed to what their intentions are. So for international trade, once again, you need government, and we cannot, even though we cry and cry and cry about their ineptitude, they are there. So this cry is going to continue until the ineptitude is corrected, so that the regulatory environment and the conducive framework can be provided. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Please, I see Mary Kimsa. Please, you have the floor in your...
Hello, I'm still on.
Yes, I'll call you afterwards, after her.
Right.
Looks like your internet is a bit unstable. I believe it's stable now. So let's see if Madam Mary Kimsa is there. She has her hand up. Are you there? Okay, Adelemi, okay, you can have the floor while we wait for Mary.
Lady K, quick one for Mr. Adelemi. In order to get your voice out, you can shut down your video because it looks like your bandwidth. is competing with your voice. So that will make your voice able to go and not getting cut off.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Good evening once again, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah. My own take on this is that I said earlier there's one government policy, I think that there was draft last year or year before that, one state, one product, for us to be able to get more commodity to earn our forest. Now, that's a very good one. Each geopolitical zones have different topological soil and whatever to get these crops out. And if you can remember, some few days ago, there's a names platform that we did a forum like that at Abeokuta, where the president of Nigerian Tractor Association said that they have only 5,000 tractors in the whole of this country that have over 200 million people as a population, where we can have a commercial farmer, one single farmer that can make use of 500 tractors at once. That is on tractors. But let's go to about land clearing. My own take is this: if government want to help us on these export things, really, and they are very serious about it, let's go back to the basic.
Thank you so much. Your contribution is very much appreciated. Thank you, and we would have loved to hear it all.
You're welcome, ma. Thank you, ma.
It's a different dimension. Thank you. Okay, so finally, thank you so much. We have taken an extra minute, not many, 11:30 to 1. That has always been the case, right? So 9 minutes passed. We didn't start on time either, though. We were like 9 minutes after. So, Mr. Boyede, are you there to say something for us to round off? Today has been
Yes, I'm here. I'm here very much to say thank you. Thank you to everybody. Hey, did you give our lead speakers 1 minute to round up one? I think we should. If they're still there, because people have talked back on the things that they said. I think they also have the right. Is it right to respond or right of reply?
A right of rounding up.
Right of rounding up.
So we put it around.
And right to reply too.
So we go with Madam Tito Ojo first.
Okay, I'll be very short. There's been a whole lot of contributions and we're all right. That's the truth. Everybody has said one thing or another. And I really want to talk, particularly even the two other, my brothers that I've forgotten their names now, but they did their presentation right after mine. They provided evidence, which is really solid to engage policymakers truly. When we're looking at how profitable is it to work with CBN's exchanges and work with black markets, the evidence is there and it's staggering actually. So I really want us to take this from here and see how we can translate that to engage our policymakers. I think that's very key. Perhaps they don't even understand what's happening in the real world. I have a feeling they don't even understand what happens in the real world. That's what I think. And lastly, I would say that for MPLAN, we're also trying to see how we can engage NEPC of course, we're planning on a conference. We're looking at collaboration. Let's have a platform where all voices are represented, where we can have them sitting at CBN and all the other MDs of government sitting in one room, and experts are there. And it becomes, if it's an industry event where we all agree on what to do, we move with it. So we're trying to push that right now. We're in talks with NEPC as well. A collaboration that I saw that Mo Olumide talked about, collaboration. We need to look at that very critically. How can we work together in such a way that we can begin to see the traction that we are looking for? So that's what I'll end with. But this has been a wonderful engagement today and very eye-opening as well. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And Chimere Ojonu, 1 minute as well.
Okay. Once again, thank you very much. I think for me, I know every time I say this, Mr. Femi will try and shy away, but we'll have to keep pushing him. He has to do this for us. I think I would suggest that we have somebody like Mr. Femi, Madam Titi, and some other people we can get together and form a good pressure group and make sure that this government form, I don't know what we can form. So we have a representative from customs, CBN, the banking sector, people to represent exporters like us, sit down, and we should be able to articulate what our issues are. This is the problem, this is the solution. We have to find a way to make this happen. And Mr. Femi, I think you have to drive this process. I don't know how you are going to do it, but we have to get it done.
Thank
you.
You
need to have it done. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. And Yankari Madaki, 1 minute.
Yes, thank you again. Very quick one. Somebody mentioned earlier on something to do with the fact that we don't have land clearing and tractors, which in fact is a point. You want to talk about increase, we're looking at agriculture as an increase for our exports in this country. You're not looking at providing the tractors that would expand the production. You are depending on peasant farmers to expand. We're signatory to the Maputo agreement that says you should put 12% of your budget into agriculture. Nigeria puts barely 3% of their budget. So if we do not put emphasis and put pressure on them to hold up to the whole part of the agreement, to things like the Maputo agreement, where you invest more in agriculture, where you cannot invest in production capacity, tractors, seedlings, all that, then we're just going to just brandishing rhetorics, because we're recycling the same group of farmers and we're claiming you have not expanded land, you have not bought more tractors. So how is your production going to increase? So in agreement with that, these are part of the things we should lock in and put pressure on government for change. We have the incentives called the EEG grant. You apply for it this year. It might take you a year or two to get it. It should be such that it's automatic. Once your process come in and you submit it, the central bank should release it to you. These are the little things that would excite people. So in addition to that, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I hope we can really get that portal, that platform, like Chimere, my brother, said, where we can put a lot of pressure. Some of us are doing our part here, but we need other voices to be added to ours. We are looking like isolated madmen when we speak in isolation. So we are all come together. No, seriously, where I've become a nuisance and I've become a critic. But some of us, as long as we have blood in our veins, we will not shut up. We will keep screaming. So that's it. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you so very much. I had someone laughing and I can see others too. Isolated madmen. Yeah, and Mo Olumide to round up. I see you have put something on the group. However, the biggest onus still lies with us to collaborate, communicate, and channel our challenges properly, research, challenge, and tweak existing interventions, with more data and less emotions. Consistently commit to the growth we seek. It will happen if we don't stop striking our arrows on the ground. It will happen or it will not happen. Okay, thank you so very much, everyone. We have had a very passionate, wonderful session again today. And appreciation again goes to the team working behind the scene. Damu Gambo says, vocabulary of the day, isolated madmen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the group. You all know yourself. Olufemi Boyede, please, a vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you again very much. And when you're talking about isolated madmen, so Mr. Malaki, you are saying that I have been mad since the past 32 years. Because
we're all mad people.
Even when I used to see, I used to wonder, feel one kind. I'm sure Dr. Akonji would probably support me on this. When they announced the annual budget, when government was doing budget presentation in Sheraton, when they say comments, I'll be the first hand to come up, and they'll come there, they'll jump out and say, excuse me, this budget is not complete because non-oil export has not been articulated, blah, blah. So I'll be mad. Anyway, it's good to be mad positively. And thank you all for having joined this positive madness in the last 2 hours plus. The actual evidence of a good discussion forum, whether it's virtual or physical, is the number of people who started and the number of people who stayed. Despite our very lengthy engagement today, you have all stayed, and therefore I join our technical team in clapping for you. I again, in response to Chimere, and that will be my last comment, there is no point reinventing the wheel. We don't need to set up a committee out of a committee. MPNEN is legally registered as the voice of the Nigerian exporter. MPNEN includes all players, including lawyers, including shipping agents and clearing and forwarding agents, banks and what have you, the export value chain, in non-oil export value chain in Nigeria. That itself is already a big pressure group. In case you don't know them, export is co-chaired by 2 former ministers in Nigeria. And like I exposed earlier on, Dr. Mrs. Omolara Akonji was actually the director, Trade and Exchange Department of Central Bank of Nigeria for several years, long before the 8-year tenureship came. And of course, so many other important decisions. So that's an ideal pressure group, out of which technical committees are being drawn up and created. And I don't know, I'm not preempting anything, but I know Titi Ojo is very smart, and I can imagine that MPNEN's council will be getting memoranda introducing some people very soon. Having said that, I want to thank everybody, and this is not the end of the engagement on charting the way forward. Charting the way forward is a dynamic, is a continuous, is a progressive thing. My last speaker and contributor that Kemi read out, I admire and I applaud your versatility with words. And I think that whatever it is that we are coining out of this or other engagements, I think that you will be very, very helpful. Thank you all.
And
stay safe.